Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the FCC series. This would be the Flake's Commission Casting series. I'm joined by Rick from BCW, a good friend of mine, and you may have heard Rick on other casts that we've done. But Rick, it's nice to see you, buddy. How are you?
I'm wonderful, Flake. Thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of the FCC, also known as just a fun little project to help support Flake.
Well, that is definitely part of it. But again, it's always great to sort of when you mix the fundraising aspect with things you love with people who are awesome. I guess this is the result of it, and we've got a really fascinating one here for you, Rick, because there's something at stake here for this. This is the special Golden Goblin Chalice is up for grabs here because there is a husband and wife rivalry that's going down, and I want to walk you through a little bit about this before we get to the actual matchups and the deck breakdown here, Rick, because this is the third and final match of a very special tournament series because they have been going through their journey through Flesh and Blood, and it is Hank versus Amy. Hank introduced Amy to Flesh and Blood. However, Amy has a 90% win rate. The head-to-heads here, Rick, are a little lopsided. And when you walk into a match and you see those stats on the board, you're getting your Vegas numbers locked down. How inclined are you to bet on the long shot here, Rick?
Not at all. As a married man, I know you don't bet against the wife ever. So, yeah, no, I would blindly pick Amy. Uh,
Without even looking
I
at the
do.
deck list. You don't know anything here. We haven't even
I
dug
know.
into it.
I know nothing, but I know I am Team Amy all the way. So
Okay.
sorry, Hank, but yeah, Team Amy all the way.
Look, streaks are meant to be broken, okay? There's always one in there. Listen, we're coming off of a long shot 80-1 horse called Rich Strike winning the Kentucky Derby. So,
Yeah, last minute entry too, and the lowest betted horse for the Kentucky Derby, meaning that not enough people really bet on the long shot, who the announcers didn't even realize was really in the race until it won.
fascinating. Again, that's why you should never count anyone out, especially Hank here with his 10% head-to-head win rate. Now, we hope that if Hank does win, he does not treat the post-game situation much like that horse did, which was biting other horses and other jockeys like a total badass. Still, Rick, let's get to the decks here. So, very
Yep.
special rules for this. It is a basically this. It's almost like sealed rules, but each of the contestants here, each of the competitors, opened a fresh box of Rathe. Welcome to Rathe, and crafted a deck, a 40-card deck based on what they had. So it is kind of sealed. It's like mega sealed to a degree, but this is the third and deciding the matchup. The what's at stake here again? The Golden Goblin Chalice to the winner. And let's walk through those decks. Let's start real fast here. Well, real fast. Let's get real naughty here. We're gonna start with Amy, frankly. And do you know why we're starting with Amy? Well, that's because Amy is winning the most. So let's start with Amy on this and see where we get with that.
All right. Well, it looks like Wifey has opted to go with Dorinthia Iron Song in the box versus box battle. We're obviously going to be rocking that Dawn Blade. In the equipment slot, we have the Hope Merchant's Hood, which is absolutely phenomenal for getting rid of bad hands. We have the Heartened Cross Strap. Again, this card is very powerful. The Iron Rock Gauntlets, which is going to give a little bit of blocking, and the Refraction Bolters. Again, that is the Warrior specific common equipment out of WTR. So, yep, I agree with all the equipment choices here. And can't wait to see how they come into play, but some very powerful equipment effects. We get into the deck, and this is going to be a little awkward for me. I'm used to seeing a lot of Dorinthias really relying heavily on just the attack reactions or the non-attack actions. So it's really hard to block against them because of the got yous that they can get and the go again on the Dawn Blade type of effects. The first card we see is a Drone of Brutality. This card is so good that it was banned in Blitz. It is just a game extender. It's a phenomenal card. So we see one red Drone of Brutality. We see two Scar for a Scar. Now, this is a phenomenal card in a sealed type environment. Odds are you're going to take some damage. It's just a 0 for 4 with Go again. We've got one red driving blade. We have two red nature's path pilgrimage, three red sharpened steel. That is a good one to have. That is just a +3 to the dawn blade as an attack action. We have the Red Warrior's Valor in one Iron Song response, one overpower, two red Razor Reflexes, two Stroke of Foresight, one red Sync, one red Sigil. Moving into the yellow pitch, we see one Raging Onslaught. We see one yellow driving blade, two Warrior Valors, one Singing Steel Blade, and talking about good hit out of a box. That is a nice one to have, especially if you're going with Dorinthia. One yellow Stroke of Foresight, one Steel Blade Shunt yellow, one yellow Unmovable. Both of those I think are going to come in really big in this game. They're great defense reactions. And then we have one Remembrance. We have in the blues two blue driving blades, one Warrior's Valor Blue, one Biting Blade, one Glint the Quicksilver, another phenomenal hit. On demand go again. Great for gotchas. Two Iron Song response, one overpower, one blue sink below, three blue steel blade shunts, and one time snap potion. So we're seeing a nice blue pitch. Really is what blue is in Dorinthia decks for, and we're seeing that a lot of these blues actually have some versatility, some usable aspects of them for this matchup. So really, I'm really happy with my out of the gun blind pick here of Amy. This deck looks like it's going to be able to put out a lot of consistent damage from the Warriors' ends of things.
Well, there's a reason why she's 90% win rate against her husband here. But I mean, looking at this deck real quick, the two red Scarfer Scars jump out at me right away. Those are great cards to have in any of the formats, frankly. If you're just making a list in limited, Scar for a Scar is always a big hit, and red is what you're looking for. Drone of Brutality, like you mentioned, the card's so good, it was banned. And when it gets to late game, having a drone or two is usually good enough. And in this case, having the red one is awesome to see. Red Sink Below, again, when you're hunting for cards to fill out and flesh out decks in limited, those are the great cards to have. Same with red Sigil of Solace. You can never go wrong with just gaining 3 life. And this list here, again, limited is such a, it's such a fascinating format because it creates problem-solving issues sometimes where, like you mentioned, Dorinthia Iron Song is very much a reaction-heavy list, and typically all Dorinthia wants to do is swing with Dawnblade and attack actions be damned. And in this case, you got to sort of shore up those decks in certain cases, and that's where you see stuff like Raging Onslaught or Scar for a Scar, Drone of Brutality kind of sliding in there as being alternative methods of damage. We're going to move on now to Hank's deck. Hank bringing in Bravo, the wifey stopper in this case, as Bravo's going to be swinging the big hammer. Nothing really special here. Hardened Cross Strap, again, is usually the chess piece because there's going to be some expensive attacks in this deck. Goliath Gauntlet and Helm of Eisen's Peak and Iron Wrought Legs is pretty much the limited dream. That's what you want. You're not going to find a Tectonic Blade. I don't think you're going to get that lucky typically, but hey, you never know. In this case, not the case, but this deck here, we're going to run through this, but I mean, you didn't find the big boys like Crippling Crush, but you found Spinal Crush, you found some Crush Confidence, and when it comes to these Guardian lists, Rick, it's typically, you want like a bunch of pretty strong, potent red attacks supported by a lot of blues, and that's basically what we've got here.
Yeah, and so as you're just going through the list, we've got two red Buckling Blows, two Cartilage Crush Red, two red Crush Confidants, three red Debilitate, two red Disable, one Spinal Crush, two red Pummel, and two red Sink. Now, those pummels are going to come in big. There's a really nice gotcha line where you just attack with an Anothos for 4. They maybe min block it or just chump block it, and I'll take one, and then you pitch another 3-cost blue to play the pummel, and now all of a sudden you're coming in for 10. And that is a nice way with Bravo to get some got you damage in. The Sing Below obviously is going to be a great defense reaction going up against Dorinthia. Do want to be able to try and stop the attack reactions when Dorinthia plays them to go over top of your blocking. You have one yellow Remembrance. I find that a little bit weird, but again, we're also unlimited. Remembrance is a card, especially when you only have like one Spinal Crusher, you only have two Pummels. They're nice to be able to get cards back into your deck. On the bottom with the Remembrance, not what I'm used to. But then you see the stock Bravo thing to do, which is just jam your deck full of as many blues so you can pay for that and note those. So you've got three Buckling Blows, three Cartilage Crush, one Cranial Crush, four Crush Confidence, one Debilitate, one Blessing of Deliverance, two Stonewall Confidence, one another Pummel, but this time in blue, which is the really sneaky one. Absolutely love Blue Pummel and Bravo. One blue staunch response, two blue unmovables, one crazy brew, two energy potions, and one time snap potion. So I'm not a big fan of the energy potion and time snap potion or the crazy brew because they don't cost three. And typically that's what you want as your blue pitch for Bravo for the Anothos. But what I do like about them is it is setting up some really ridiculous turns where you don't have to hold as many cards you're able to block because you have resources and action points on board to be able to either go wide or to pay for some of these bigger crush cards when you actually had to block. So I think this deck could really Hank did bring a wife stopper. That's for sure. It looks like it can go the distance against Dorinthia. And again, that Heart and Cross Strap Goliath Gauntlet is going to give one really big red crush attack a really massive turn. And don't forget that Bravo's ability gives him Dominate for the cost of two. So these big crushes pumped up by a Goliath Gauntlet, reduced by two with the Heart and Cross Strap. That two is just enough pitch to be able to make sure that you were able to activate Bravo's ability on that big coming through crushing turn. So we're gonna have to see how this plays out.
Yeah,
I'm
and
excited.
the energy potion also is a nice way to exactly like pay for some of those dominate effects from Bravo as well. I'm not upset about having those in there. I think those are fine.
Right.
What I'm upset about is how Crazy Brew typically treats me in any kind of competitive format. So we're not going to worry about those, but we are going to worry about three pummels lurking around. So those
Yeah.
are the cards to watch. Again, the big boys like Spinal Crush and such are great to see, but when they're backed up by the threat of pummel, you got to know that it's going to eventually hurt. All right. Mr. Rick. So again, you're standing by your lady here, as Amy is your what you're still jamming the chips on, and I think that after seeing these lists, I am very confident in Hank's ability here to go through. So no bias. No way, all bias on this side. So without further ado, Rick, let's take it to the match here. Again, this is for the Golden Goblin Chalice. So let's get real. It is time to decide the winner. Let's just get to it. It's time. It's Bravo Wifey Stopper versus Dorinthia Iron Song. As both players, again, cutting the deck and just getting ready to go. Hank here is, again, trying to shake the fact that there's a 90% differential here. And the one card cut is always lovely. Just kind of just... you can see Hank here. Hank is just saying, all right, let's get to it. Just leave me alone. And these are the kinds of, that extra psychological edge that I'm loving here. So Amy already with the confidence move and the dice roll, a nice 5 met by an 8 just for show. So
See, Amy is winning already. Just pointing that out. Amy won the dice roll. So yeah, I was right. Amy's winning.
yeah, well, that's the case. Wrap it up. It's a to-go order. That's all good to go. So she has elected, it seems, I believe that she's going second, if I'm not mistaken, is Hank right now is going to be evaluating the cards. And this is always a tough juncture in a game, Rick, especially when you don't want to filter that in. Okay, so Amy's going to be going first here. And, +3 on the next attack is a good way to start. Why not? I mean, you're going to be busting up that Dawn Blade and hopefully jamming some counters on it.
Well, yeah, and normally this first turn you are. I mean, it is a free drawback up for Hank being able to defend, but you want to make them to have to get rid of cards in their hand that they didn't want to necessarily get rid of. So right now we are seeing. This is going to get bad. So right now you have a Dawn Blade coming in for 10.
Yeah, this is kind of those situations, Rick, where you're saying, I get it. I'm on turn 0. I want to attack, but I don't want my opponent to necessarily filter the garbage out of the hand. The way around that, Rick, is when you can present a tall, super nasty attack like this. It's either you go wide by 4 in awkward numbers, but it looks in this case like Hank's just going to say, all right, well, I'm going to give you a few here. I'll give you 3, and we'll go from there. And there's the Dawnblade. It's going to connect for 2, and already Hank's just kind of playing from behind. He is going to be able to replenish the hand. That's fine, but curious to see what that last card was that he really cherished and wanted to hang into. There's a Sink Below drawn there. That's a card he wished he had earlier, and some other pieces. So it looks like he opting to just hang on to that one Guardian card that might have, I think that's a Crush Confidence, if I'm not mistaken, that's in hand here.
Yes, that is Crush Confidence red, and we're seeing it just come in. It doesn't look like Bravo's ability was activated. This just looks like I'm threatening a crush effect, and you now have to deal with it.
And that's fine. Again, it's with health totals so low, it's all right to do that. That's a Steel Blade Shunt, so that's going to be a blue Steel Blade Shunt that's going to block the lion's share here. She's going to take 3, but that does shut off the Crush ability. Again, the Crush ability is 4 or more damage is taken. In this case, that's fine. But Steel Blade Shunts are also a concern. I have lost games to those kinds of combat tricks.
Yep, and what Amy may not be aware of are the lurking pummels. And I would have been on edge for a pummel on top of that just because of the pitching one card to play one crush, not using Bravo's ability, holding cards in hand. That could be something we see in the future.
No, that's a very good point. Definitely a good point.
All right, and we just saw a naked Dawnblade come in, hit for 3. No go again. We see an Arsenal, a setup. This was just a poke. Yeah, this could be a very big turn for your candidate here winning or doing some significant damage. Bravo with a card in Arsenal and 4 cards in hand. This can get pretty big. Again, we see 3 cards being held in hand. We just see I think that's a Cartilage Crush.
That is
coming in, and
it's a Cartilage Crush. Yeah, it's for 7 in this case. Just opting to just drop the Sink Below here, but again, Crush Effect is not online until you drop the big fat red pummel. This is what we're talking about, Rick.
Yep, this is exactly what I was saying. When big turn, holding 3 cards in hand, and having that pummel to come over across the top of it. Otherwise, you could have dominated. He could have dominated it. But no, yeah. So now we're gonna have the Crush Effect in. We also have a discard coming from that pummel. Yeah, and obviously the sink was there. This was what I was worried about last turn. We see it this turn.
Yeah, and not only that, the Crush Effect is now in effect. You got to lose a card to the pummel. So 1 point tax, a little bit of a 1 resource tax is going to be on Amy's desk here to clear out. But giving up certain cards to discard, I believe the card that was tossed away in that regard, I think it was was it a Scarf or a Scar potentially, which was going to be, typically that's the best card that you want to play at when you're at a life deficit here, but it was going to cost 1 extra. In this case, Amy's opting to take another approach, and by in that regard, she's going to be playing, if I'm not mistaken, is that Nature's Path Pilgrimage?
That's the Pilgrimage with the Dawnblade.
So Dawnblade for 3, and the problem here is that Dawnblade typically wants to be, swinging once or twice, collecting those counters, becoming immensely, snowbally in that regard. It scales really nastily, and there's a reason why Dorinthia is such a menace when it comes to the Blitz format, those 20 health heroes, because it's tough for players to block it effectively. It's tough for players to sort of anticipate how much they need to place in front of it. Usually, it's not just a matter of blocking. It's either block 0 or overblock by like 6 in certain cases.
Right, and that's what we're seeing right here, potentially, is the overblock. And the reason why I was saying that is because Amy still has a card in her hand. So as long as Amy has a card, you have to worry that it's an attack reaction. So we may see a bigger block. Obviously, we're getting 2 pieces of equipment. We're also getting the Sink Below. It is going to be a full block from what I can see. But it's a great bait because you can strip more cards out of somebody's hands or get more equipment with them having to overblock, like you were saying.
So that is in the same vein that you need to be wary of the pummels that kind of hide in the shadows. The name of the game for Durant the Iron Song is, combat tricks, getting on top of those blocks. And in this case, Hank knows all of those little pitfalls and opting in this case to block 6 of 3, saying if you do have a +3, I got you covered here. So playing it safe. And taking a look at the hand there, I'm trying to see what he's got at his disposal. That a spinal crush that he's holding on to, but he's going to be cracking Goliath Gauntlet. This is where the fireworks happen, Rick. This is the first thing, and an activation of Bravo. This is going to get real nasty.
I would like to see the heart and cross strap also. That's a disable, I believe, a red disable coming in at +2. So I believe that's going to push it up to.
That's buckling blow, if I'm not
Is
mistaken.
that buckling
I
blow? I
believe that's
can't.
yeah. It's that is a
Yeah.
buckling blow, meaning that if it does affect a crush, it's going to be putting a -1 durability counter on a piece of equipment. In this case, well, this is the best time to go ahead and drop some of those equipments before they get hurt. So, Amy, in this case, opting to present the equipment first, and then come in with a yellow unmovable. So that is an 8 block off of what was, if I'm not mistaken, potentially a 10 attack with the pumped up Goliath Gauntlet.
Yep, it was a 10 attack under this under dominate. So life totals don't seem to be correct. Oh no, sigil. We just saw the red sigil come down. I missed that. So gaining 3 back. So and then we're just gonna see, I believe, a naked Dawnblade come in. Not really threatening anything other than chip damage. This could be something that is just either accepted or blocked with 1 card.
You got to feel
Nothing
good
else
here.
really.
I mean, if you're
Yeah.
Amy, you got to feel good because those are once the Goliath Gauntlet turn occurs and you manage to get away relatively unscathed. Frankly, you got away with more or less more health than you lost in that case, right?
Yeah.
You blocked the entire thing, and you're coming away with plus health off of that whole exchange. A boosted up Goliath Gauntlet dominated buckling blow, and you
Right.
walk away ahead is ridiculous.
Right, but so what we're seeing here is a very smart play from Amy. So the naked Dawnblade, you had 1 card, you pitched it for 3. You play the Dawnblade attack. Your opponent just takes it. Yeah, whatever. It's just damage. You have no cards in hand. You have 2 resources floating. So then they use the boots in order to get the go again and swing with the Dawnblade again. So for 1 pitch, for 2 resources, or 3 resources rather, you're able to attack twice because your opponent didn't block the first one. So you got go again, a hit. You were able to get go again and swing that weapon, forcing them to block or give your Dawnblade a counter. So they're really disruptive. Here we have a cranial crush coming in, and it looks like it has been dominated as well. Just big attack after big attack. It looks like there's a steel blade shunt in Amy's hand. She could potentially block and then use the steel blade shunt as a defense reaction. And life totals are really close right now. So, dealing 1 back, life totals are tied up 11-11, but there will be damage through this crush.
All right,
There we
well,
go, 3 damage.
Steel Blade Shunt is a nasty, nasty little blocking ability there. But if Steel Blade Shunt defends a weapon attack, deal 1 damage. That wasn't a weapon attack, so she may have gotten away with
Yeah,
a little bit
it
of
shouldn't have.
no. So that 1 damage that went through, that would have been a little bit of a sneaky one because that should have only occurred if it was a weapon attack that comes through. But again, Anothos and Steel Blade Shunt, you're kind of peanut butter and jelly. It's a big attack and you block it with Steel Blade. That's kind of how you want to counter the Anothos. But it seems like in this case, Hank is just very content, just jamming all of these big attacks one after another, and having the ability with Bravo to dominate it makes it incredibly uncomfortable for Amy to withstand this onslaught, because typically in these cases, eventually you're hoping your opponent is just going to run out of gas or miss a turn and you can get all the tempo back. But maintaining a healthy life total is the name of the game. And when you're playing at half health, big attacks from Bravo are very devastating, especially when those pummels are lurking around the corner. One misstep here can potentially, if you feel uncomfortable here and suddenly you're at let's say 15 health and you decide to let a 7 attack go because you want to keep your hand, and then there's a pummel on top of that, eventually, those add up and now you're at half health, you're missing a card and your whole plan is shattered and you're back to square one. And taking a look at the life totals here, Amy in the lead, 8-6. Hank is coming back here. That looks like another buckling blow. This one's red again.
And it is under Bravo's ability. Hank did not block last turn, so obviously married to his hand because is able to outpace the damage and really kind of has the tempo in this back and forth life point trading. And the fact that Bravo's ability gives dominate, ensuring damage is going to get through because his armor is spent. So I guess we're using the headpiece right now. Oh, help me.
That is
Help me,
the
help
Hope
me.
Merchant's
Yes,
Hood.
Hope Merchant's Hood. So sorry. The Hope Merchant's Hood, for whatever reason, Mage Master just got stuck in my head. The Hope Merchant's Hood, we're looking for defense reaction. We're looking for something that can block a bigger portion of the damage that's coming through because of that dominate effect. So we're shuffling in a couple of cards, looking for 2 cards at instant in order to give us the ability to have a better block,
I
I
like
believe.
this. I like this. Hank in a very commanding position here, and Amy popping the Hope Merchant's Hood and doing a little bit of shuffling, and Hank saying, yeah, okay. I saw your little steel blade shunt maneuver earlier, so we're going to go ahead and shuffle this up, Amy. There's so much on the line here. I want to make sure that I've got my fingers in that
She
cookie
drew a steel
jar.
blade shunt.
Oh, oh no, that is great. I mean, let's be real. She drew the steel blade shunt. Does she have a method to pay for it? Yes, but at the same time, Rick, here is that you are still looking at a pretty hefty attack here. Now, obviously, drawing the steel blade shunt is going to soak up a lot of that damage and probably shut off the crush effect. But dominate means that you can only. It's not that you can only block with one card plus a defense reaction. It's one card from hand. So that defense
Right.
reaction needed to be in the arsenal to really full block this. But in this case, if you do have a steel blade shunt and it can eat up the majority of this damage, that's already a win in my books here because you've lost all tempo as Amy. So there she goes. She's going to drop the blue steel blade shunt, block 4 of, if I'm not mistaken, the 8. So it's going to
And
be
and
nasty.
Hank just took 1 damage again. That's supposed to be on weapon attacks, but it's fine. The steel blade shunt is able to block 4, which is more than the 3 that she was going to be able to block with another warrior card from hand. So we're still going to see the crush effect. We're still going to see damage come through. Um,
I love
and
this though.
now
I love how he how Hank puts the -1 counter on the already expended equipment piece, basically saying, yeah. It got through. This is for me, okay? This is merely for me. It has nothing to do with anything. I just want to know that I did it. And another Dawnblade swing here. This one's just coming in the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, but we also have a card in hand and we have resources floating. So again, this is back to the problem that most players have when they're playing up against Orinthia is how much do you block? Because if you don't overblock, they've got yous. No,
Oh,
oh,
oh, that
no,
is
got you.
Oh, this is a pivotal point in the match, Rick, as that could have actually ended the game. But Hank, with that talking about steel blade shunt, how about some steel blade resolve and some resiliency there? Those are that. Give my regards to your balls, Hank, because that could have ended the game right there. But clearly, Hank's got some fire in his hand.
Yeah, and as we're looking at Amy's hand right now, you'll see there is a razor reflect in this hand. If she survives this turn and is able to have a pitch with that Dawn Blade, it's going to be blocked. But so far, we haven't really seen Hank overblock except that one time. And if he doesn't overblock this next one with that razor, depending on how blocks go, depending on life totals, we could really see the got you out of that razor. Hopefully, we can keep a 2 pitch to attack with the Dawn Blade. Team Amy. obviously, attack with the Dawn Blade, and then have that razor. But we've got to see what Hank was willing to go down to 2 for. It's got to be another big crush.
All right, I
Yeah,
like
they're
this. I think that you have to be taking advantage of the dominate effect in this case where you're so low. Now it is a give and take here because dominate means you're only getting one card out of hand. So if
but
Amy
this should
does
be lights
survive,
out.
oh, that's what
So
I'm looking at here. Another cartilage crush, a red dominated cartilage crush, 2 cards in hand. We know a pummel's floating around and one resource floating. So you're always going to be able to pay for that pummel unless that's a Gorganian tome in hand, which is not legal in this set. So
right. Yeah,
looks good.
we see the pummel and the grip. We see the one floating resource. We see another card in the grip with the pummel. Even if it's a red, you're able to pay for the pummel. You're only allowed to block for 1 out of hand. And really, I think we only have 3 blocks in our hand. I think we've burned through all of the steel blade shunts. I don't believe that there's anything left over here in Amy's hand. So it looks like it's just a matter of going through the motions because I think just the crush effect damage will be enough without having to play the pummel on top of it. But
And
I'm going to guess the pummel is going to be played on top of it because when you have the win, you just want to win big.
well, that why not? Why not, right? I mean, we saw a little bit of that confidence, a little cockiness off Amy's side, and Hank now in the driver's seat and just wanting to really tailor together this turn properly. So, a 1 card block here, going to reaction phase. There's the pummel. Is
Yeah.
that all it is? And Amy's just like, yeah, I don't know what else I could do here. And you see Hank's like, did I get it? Did I do it? And there it goes, right past the zeros into the negatives. Boom. Hands together. Love it. All right. That is a big win for my man Hank, taking the Golden Goblin Chalice. A wonderful, wonderful, wonderful win for Hank here. Again, just padding those stats. It is now probably, what, an 11% win rate against each other, which, again, baby steps, Hank, baby steps.
Probably, unfortunately, just like one of my favorite commentators, Amy came in that close second place. So, obviously we need her to start watching you a little bit more and not listening to Tannen. But other than that, it was a great game. It was nice to see people having fun, inventing their own ways of playing and getting into the game. And I believe we may have some interview with the winner. Is that correct?
That is correct. We're standing by. We're going through time and space to go ahead and connect with Hank and see what he's got to say about this very specific, significant box versus box Game 3 all on the line Golden Goblin Chalice win. Let's go to Hank.
Thank you so much. It feels great to be the first ever Golden Goblin Chalice winner. Tune in to some Arcane Rising to see if she can take it from me or if I can hold on to it. Thanks again, Flake. Have a great one, everyone.
Big words from the winner, Hank, who wins the box versus box battle. The Goblin Chalice will rest so neatly behind his desk over there with some other cool stuff. There's some great things that were on his mantle in the back there. I think I see there's a that is Amazing Spider-Man, the one where I believe they figure out that it is Ned Leeds who is the Hobgoblin, if I'm not mistaken. That's the issue for that. Yeah.
I believe you're correct, and I believe that is actually a graded slabbed comic. If my eyes are not deceiving me,
Damn
I
right.
can't see the top of it to see the bar, but that is a nice piece.
That is a nice piece. That's got to be an 8.0, Hank, if you want any of my respect, but we're good. That said, wonderful, wonderful game. Again, this is a very intriguing format. It is limited in that you're playing sort of limited rules. However, you were opening an entire box of Welcome to Rathe and crafting together something nice. And with 3 steel blade shunts swimming around, to possibly absorb and punish those Anothos swings, but it was the pummels that were the story here. And eventually, when you've got Bravo, you've got Blue Pitch, you've got Dominated and some, big swing attacks, it is hard to deal with that. And we've seen the power of what Dorinthia Ironsong can do in a constructed blitz format, but when it's limited, when you don't have all the pieces, it's not as coherent, it's not as streamlined as it typically usually can be. But Bravo, baby, it's just draft the big stuff and the fuel for it and see you at the finish line.
Yeah, and hats off again. It was a well played match. I really like this idea. In fact, I think I'm going to steal this idea in Vegas. I think you and me, we're going to buy a box. We're going to sit down and we're going to try this challenge at
Oh, yeah.
least once, because it is a wonderful way to just play the game in a pure form. I think this format is phenomenal for people that have the money to spend into doing something like this. Or you could even make a lesser expensive version where you and a buddy split the cost of a box and you get 2 sealed decks essentially out of that box. So you battle each other with your sealed decks that you open and make, and you can do that with any core Flesh and Blood set. So it's just a nice way for 2 people, 2 friends, husband and wife, or partners, or whatever, to get into this game and still have fun while you're getting into it. So absolutely love it. I am jealous that that Chalice is absolutely beautiful. I now need one in my office, but hats off to the winner. Even though I'm still Team Amy, because honestly, as a husband, even if you win, did you really win?
Hey, if you're married to somebody who's just like that good and adept at card games, you're already winning. So,
Yes.
like you mentioned, a phenomenal format, a wonderful series between the two. Hank, Amy, I met both these people in New Jersey. They were tremendous human beings, wonderful people. So thank you very much to them for trusting us with this broadcast and with this casting. Again, if you out there want to get your match cast by myself and one of my colleagues, somebody with a professional acumen and that nice timbery voice like Mr. Rick from BCW, then please shoot me a message on Twitter at WatchFlake or on Discord. You can find me lurking about, and I can cast your match in the same way that we did this. So don't be shy. And we've got one more sayonara, as it were, from the crew. But before we do that, Rick, thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful casting journey.
It is my pleasure. Please have me back again. I need the work. So,
Sweet.
No, thank you so much.
You got it, buddy. All right, friends, don't forget you're not losing if you're learning, so keep playing the game. And let's send it off to Hank and Amy for the sayonaras. Adios.
Thank you so much to Flake for taking this little goofy husband and wife rivalry and elevating it to the highest possible standard. Thank you so much. We look forward to working with you again in the future. And until next time, guys, hope you enjoyed it. Peace out, Gob Squad. It would feel so tainted if I won this game.
It can't feel tainted.
It would have to.
It can't.
It would have to.
I mean, it's a good game, though. Do you see the score?
I do see the score, but I really want you to have a defense reaction. Because if I win right here, I'm going to be very upset. Because I don't deserve to win. You
don't get to know.
You've won 90% of the matches. So if you win now, if you lose now, I'm gonna be very upset.
There's no reason to be upset.
It's a very big reason to be upset.
Oh, there's really no reason to be upset.
7 dominate.
Yeah, I'm aware of what you have.
Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Well, 2 more.